My name's David, and this is my very first video! Starting at number 1 is Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man Homecoming isn't just another great addition to the 1 billion superhero movies that already exist. It is now my new favorite superhero movie, and I'll tell you why. Other superhero movies try and succeed a little bit in bringing humanity to super characters, but Spider-Man Homecoming perfects it. You also get a beautiful showcase of what it's like to be a regular person. His ambition, his boredom, his ignorance, his desire to do good and to feel like he's worth something, and the toll that takes on him when it all kind of falls flat and lands on his face. You also get to see the best display of vulnerability in any superhero movie I've ever seen. There's a scene where Spider-Man is literally and metaphorically crumbling under the weight of being Spider-Man. And he cries. He cries like a kid who crawled too high up in a tree and can't find his way back down. It's my favorite scene in the movie. Can't we all relate to feeling overwhelmed? Can't we all relate to wanting to give up? So much so that we're praying for someone else to come take our trials away because we can't seem to find the strength to carry them ourselves? But then, we remember what drives us, and we find the strength to overcome. So Spider-Man Homecoming. It's relatable, it's got 21st century comedy, it's jam-packed full of Easter eggs, it's got the best Marvel villain we've seen with Michael Keaton, and it's got the most humanity you'll ever see out of a superhero movie. Next for my number 1 spot, we gotta reach way back in the early 2017, it's Get Out. Here's the thing. I don't like scary movies. I just don't. They creep me out. This is how I normally watch a movie. This is how I watch a scary movie. Normal movie, scary movie. Normal, scary. You got it? So I don't normally do scary movies because it's really hard to enjoy anything when you're like this. So just the fact that a scary movie has made it onto my top 5 list should be evidence enough of how amazing this movie is. This movie is a perfect balance between mystery, suspense, humor, and scares. It's so much fun to piece everything together and figure it out right as the protagonist does. This is a movie that deserves multiple viewings because of all of its hidden symbolisms and second meanings to everything that's going on around you. There are college classes taught on this movie because of how dense it is. It's just good. It's just good. It's so well acted. And did I mention this movie is hilarious? The movie begins and ends with you cracking up. To me, it was the perfect transition into the horror genre. I will be seeing this one a second time, and so should you. Next up is my number 1 pick. Here you go. Oh, sorry. That was the last straw. King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. This is a controversial pick, I know. And it's also the last straw. The straw that broke the camel's back and other straw-related analogies that led me to the following conclusion. Critics are so dumb!
David is not a movie critic, but rather just a fan of movies who believes completely unjustifiably that he has good taste in movies, and wants to see if anyone out there will listen to his ramblings because people are tired of hearing them at work.
Only one person can decide if a movie is good or not. You. Let me say that again. There is only one person who can decide if a movie is good or not, and that's you. And me, obviously. My opinion is law. Honestly, in the very near future, I'm going to do an entire video on this movie, because the balance of the universe will not be restored until somebody serves some justice to this underappreciated film. In the meantime, all I can offer is this.
This movie is an absolute joy, with great characters to root for, a brand new take on a classic character, gripping music, stylistic editing, and just enough glimpses into the world building that could have been if anyone had any sense when saw this movie enough times when it profited enough to want a sequel!
I feel different, better. Okay, moving on. Let me a fuel roll. Okay. Whew. Now that that's out of the way, let's continue on with my number 1 pick. 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. Holy poop, holy poop, holy poop. At the time I'm writing this script, I just saw this movie and I had to kick off one of my other top fives to make room for this, because this movie is riveting. There is not a single character on screen that I get bored with. Everything is acted phenomenally, and the character arcs are so developed and interesting. Characters somehow do things that are simultaneously shocking and yet totally understandable because of how believable their performances are and how spot on the writing is. Not to mention they all say really funny stuff. And none of the jokes feel forced like they were written in there just to be funny. They all just seem like things the characters would say that happen to be funny. And when I say funny, I mean in a dark kind of way. This is a dark comedy that holds no punches. This movie gets your emotions on a leash and just drags them around wherever it wants you to go. It can have you totally invested in an argument that's happening with laughs thrown in the middle to keep it light, and in the blink of an eye, there's a crater in the part of you your stomach goes when people say that your stomach sinks. This movie is smart, so smart. It is littered with dark comedy, constantly tugs at your heartstrings, and is full of social commentary without coming across as political, which I really appreciate. I don't do politics.
Get your dang politics out of my movies.
And maybe the most clever joke of all, in my opinion, is kind of a joke the director plays on us, the audience. He knows he's smart, and he knows his movie's smart. But in case we, the audience, don't get it, he has the single dumbest character in the movie just spoon-feed the theme of the whole thing to you in a few lines of dialogue. Hate begets more hate. It's the biggest, most obvious life lesson in the movie, and in case we don't get it, the director kind of calls us dumb for not getting it by having the dumbest character in the movie just hand-deliver it to you, and I think that is hilarious and really, really clever. And finally, number one is Baby Driver and Lego Batman. So remember when I was talking about 3 billboards, I said I had to kick one off? Well, I couldn't decide between Baby Driver or Lego Batman, so I kept them both. My list, my rules. The reason I'm putting these two movies together is because I like them for the same reasons. No detail is wasted. There are so many just partially hidden things for you to enjoy if you know what to look for. It increases the rewatch value of these movies tremendously. There are a ton of things I caught on that other people probably didn't catch on, and there are a ton of things that I missed that other people probably noticed. That's what's great about these movies, is that they're there for you to enjoy if you catch them. But the movie's great on its own as well. They're just like little bursts of flavor if you happen to be so lucky to find them. Baby Driver and Lego Batman are so jam-packed full of these things. It makes watching these movies feel like a scavenger hunt, or like you're playing I Spy. It's these kind of details that just demonstrate the love and attention that are put into these movies, and you can't help but smile when you watch them, and in the end, that's what you want out of a movie, is you want to smile, you want to come away feeling better. Speaking of which, another thing these two movies had in common are the feels. They're both super fast-paced movies, just full of action in one and jokes in the other, and, well, they kind of both have action and jokes, but stuck in the center of them is heart. And that's why these two movies share a spot on my list. Well, that's it. My top 5 movies of 2017. If your favorite movie wasn't on there, don't worry. Here's a short list of honorable mentions. Split. James McAvoy's performance is amazing, and M. Night Shyamalan doesn't suck again. Yay! Logan. Oh my gosh. The feels. John Wick 2. This movie ended so cool, and I can't wait to see what happens in the 3rd installment. It. Pennywise's performance is so cool. This is as close as you can get to going to a haunted house without actually going to a haunted house. Thor Ragnarok was so much fun. My face hurt by the end of it because I was smiling the whole time. Lady Bird is just a delightful movie, and it's full of really relatable characters that you can't help but root for. War for the Planet of the Apes. Caesar's just so cool. I saw more movies this year than I've seen in any years previous, and there's still a ton that I missed. So please join me in taking a moment of silence for the movies that fell victim to running out of time or not finding a babysitter.